All right, welcome to episode 2 of this completely free course on how to scale your online agency to make your first 5 to 10K a month online. And if you're new to the channel and this is the first video that you're seeing in this series, I'm on a mission to help people out who don't want to spend thousands of dollars on an online course to start an online business. Back in 2023, I wanted to start my own online agency, but every single time I looked up how to make money online, it just led to a course that was being sold for thousands of dollars. So I want to break that cycle and give you value so you can go start your own business and then put that money that you would have spent on a course back into the business so you can actually grow it quicker. So if you haven't watched episode 1 on picking your business model, your niche, and building your offer, feel free to go watch that video, because in episode 2, we're going to be talking about how to actually build out your services so you can go deliver them and demo them to clients so you can give them good results. Because if you start reaching out to prospects before you actually have your services built out and ready to demo, you're probably not going to close a lot of deals. But before we jump into it, please like this video, leave a comment if you find it helpful, and subscribe to the channel for future episodes. Since I'm giving all of this away for free and not selling a course, it's the least that I can ask to help the channel continue to grow. And also feel free to join the free community below, linked in the description. This is where people are coming together to share their wins, their losses, their failures, and their successes along the way. One of the most valuable things that you can have when you're first starting a business is a good support system around you that understands what you're going through to help you stay motivated and disciplined along the way. So with that, let's jump into episode 2 and get started. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this. So these are the different services that we are going to focus on today and build out so that they're ready to go for you to go demo to actual prospects. You're going to see here, we're going to focus on a variety of things. We're going to focus on new and upcoming trends like AI, but then we're also going to focus on a few other business models as well that maybe some of them are very traditional, but they still work. As we're going through this and building these different services out, think to yourself, which service do you want to offer? And also feel free to put your own unique spin on it. Maybe you take a combination of 2 of the different services that we build out and make it your own unique offer and then go from there, right? Again, you can put your own little spin and twists on it, but this should give you the general idea of how to build out these services. So again, you're ready to go demo to actual clients. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump into the GoHighLevel platform here. And if you haven't gotten started with GoHighLevel, this is the software that we're going to be using to build out all these different services that we go through today. So go ahead and click the link in my description to get a free trial of the platform, and then you can actually just follow along during this video. Now, when you sign up for a free trial using that link, I'll actually send you over all the automations, the website templates, and even these custom landing pages and onboarding courses that I give to my prospects when they sign up. So you don't have to spend all that time building them out, and you can have a much quicker start than what I had. And hopefully, if you're really serious about this and you go through every episode, by the time the free trial is over, hopefully you have your first client landed, and then you're already in the net positive when it comes to your investment. And this is the big thing that I wanted to create with this free course, is the ability to go make the investments in the softwares needed to get your business off the ground and not spend it on a course and then have to spend additional money on the software itself. So let's go ahead and build out our first service offering around AI chatbots and voice AI agents. Now we're going to move through this fairly quickly, so feel free to replay any parts that you need to, but on the left side here, we're going to find AI agents and select this. Now you'll see here when we jump into this, we're going to have a voice AI agent option and then a conversational AI agent option. And let me set the stage for this business model so you can get an idea of how to pitch this to clients so you can see if this is something that you want to build. All right, so for this service, you are essentially setting up 2 things. You are setting up a way for business owners to never miss calls when they get inbound calls and be able to have AI handle those calls, handle those basic questions, and even book appointments for them. The second part of this is setting up a conversational AI bot, which can essentially handle all their chats coming into their websites, even their social media channels, and you can even set it up for email. So the value point that you're pitching to business owners is to never miss a lead again from website chats that are coming in, social media DMs, and even inbound calls, because they're busy, they have a job to do, and the AI agents, they never sleep. And they will always be able to take leads and capture those leads before they move on to another business that's your competitor and they go with them. So let's go ahead and start with the conversational AI agent. And you're going to come into here, select conversation AI, and you're going to select create your first conversation AI agent. And once you're in here, you're going to have some different options of different types of bots that you can create. But I typically like to start from scratch, just so if I wanted to be able to answer questions and do appointment booking, I can build both of those things into my bot that I start from scratch. So go ahead, do whatever you want, but I would suggest starting from scratch and hit continue. And once we're in here, we're going to go ahead and give the bot a name. All right, so once you give it a name, you're going to go ahead and set a status. And there's 2 different types of statuses that you can set here. So suggestive and then autopilot. The difference between the 2 is if you ever been to a website before and maybe a chat widget popped up and it only gave you certain options that you can pick from, that's the suggestive prompts. Now the autopilot bot, that's a more human-like conversation. It's one-on-one, and a person can ask any question that they want or inquire about any type of service, product, and that bot is going to answer accordingly based off of how it's trained. But it's going to have its own tone of voice, and it's going to be left up to the bot on how to answer that, right? So we're going to talk about how we train our bots really well in order to make sure that they give the best answers possible. After that, we're going to come down here and it's going to have us select our communication channels. Now you'll see here, there's a ton of different options for communication channels. So like I said before, we can set this up so it can answer social DMs on Instagram and Facebook. It can answer SMS texts. It can answer chat widgets on their website, the live chat on their website, and then even WhatsApp. So put whatever you want to here. For this example, I'm just going to do a live chat one. And then as we scroll down here, there's going to be a few other pieces of information. So just give it a name, right? This is just the business name. And then what we're going to do here is give it a wait response time. So essentially what this means is how many seconds do you want the bot to wait until it replies? Now, the reason why this is important is because depending on the business owner that you work with, they may want it to be more human and they may not want the prospect to know that this is a bot that's speaking with them. So maybe you want to set it for 10 seconds so that there's a little bit of delay between each message. So it seems like an actual human's typing it. But at the same time, sometimes business owners like to have the customer know that it's a bot, but be able to make it easy for them to still book appointments. But it still gives them a fail safe to know that if the bot says anything crazy, then it is an AI bot and a human will be able to take over the chat and help them out. So again, put whatever you want there, but that's the difference between the two. And then finally, you can set a maximum limit right here when it comes to the conversations. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and hit save. And we're going to scroll back to the top and we are going to select bot training. Now, this is where you are going to load in the knowledge base of the bot. Now, there's a few ways that you can go ahead and do this, but anything that you load in here, this is how the bot's going to be able to answer the questions about the business and different things like that. So you can add up to 7 knowledge bases in here. So when you create new, you're going to just give it a name. And then when you hit save and continue, it's going to pop open this different window. And in this window, you're going to see here, this is where I'm going to load all the information in. So there's a few ways that you can do this. So number one is the web crawler. Now, what you're going to do here is you can actually just put in the URL of the website. So for instance, if they have an FAQ on their website, a homepage with general information about the business, a contact us page that talks about how appointments work, different things like that, you can load each of these URLs in here, hit get data, and it will scrape the information off of the website. As an example, I will go ahead and put my own website in here and I'm just going to hit get data, and it's going to take a second to load and it's going to fetch the pages. But once that's done loading, now anything that's on that homepage in regards to my business, when someone asks about a question, it's going to pull the knowledge from that homepage to say, hey, how should I best answer this? Then scrolling down here, you can also add in FAQs. And I would suggest doing both the web crawler and the FAQs, because the more knowledge you give the bot, just the better it'll be able to perform. Now here, what you're going to do is you're going to hit add Q&A and you're just going to simply type in the question and the answer. Now you might be like, Nate, this is going to take forever. Why would I take the time to do that? Well, one, it's going to make the bot perform better. And two, you can actually make it pretty easy. And the way that I would do this is I always have my clients share over an FAQ either via a Google Doc, or hopefully they have it laid out pretty simply on their website. And I'll just quickly go in, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. Usually doesn't take me more than 10 to 20 minutes. Usually people don't have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different, FAQs that they go through. But if they do, GoHighLevel is going to put a feature in there very soon where you can upload files to help train your bot. So then you could just take that Google Doc directly. So again, could you just use the web crawler if they have an FAQ page? Yes. But I'm more of the type that likes to build out more on the manual backend as well, just to cover all my bases to make the bot perform as best as possible. All right, now once I load up my bot with all the knowledge, I'm going to go ahead and come over to bot goals. And this is where I'm going to put a prompt in to give the bot personality. What tone of voice do I want the bot to speak in? And what is the intent and the goals of this bot in order to get the information needed to take this prospect to the next steps, whether it's booking a free consultation, buying their product or service right off their website, if it's like an e-commerce store, so on and so forth. I'm not going to dive super deep into this because I have a whole nother video that talks about this more in depth. But after you go through, build out your prompts, build this out, it's pretty self-explanatory. You can come down here and also set up actions, which is really nice. So like I said before, you can have it directly book an appointment, trigger a workflow, add contact info, and then you can also set rules around stopping the bot. So make sure that you have this all set up. The more information that you put in here, the better. I typically always like to add a workflow attached to my bot, because once I go through and have the information needed, just as an example, say it's a lawn care company, they go through the bot and they set up a free consultation. I like to set up workflows on the back end, which I'll talk about here later in this video, because that's going to be a whole nother type of service with automations. But this is an example where you can combine things, right? So have the bot get the appointment, and then have automations on the back end with your workflows to set out. Think about this. If your bot goes through and gathers all this information, but then you have no workflows to follow up with this prospect after, it's not going to do them much good. I'll just give you a quick example to paint a picture. Say that it's a lawn care company and you do free consultations for people to come out to look at the yard and give a quote, right? If they go through the bot and select a day and time, you're going to have someone go on there to make sure that they manually look, oh, this person chatted in and we need to set up an appointment with them. Versus if you just have a workflow in the background, guess what? You can set up workflows to then add it to a calendar, to send it over to their service technicians, to then send out an appointment reminder the day before to the prospect to make sure that they're actually there, so on and so forth. So we're going to talk about automations because that's a service that we can build out. But this just gives you an example of like how you can combine some of these different services together to make your own unique offering without having to overthink it too much. All right, once you have this all set up, your prompts are all good to go, you have your workflows attached, go ahead and test your bot and break it. Please break it, right? Ask the different questions that you need to ask it. Throw different scenarios at it that you think it might face. The business owner knows their business best, so they know the different questions that they might ask. But at the same time, it's not 100% bulletproof. You never know what customers are going to throw at you. But as long as you build out the bot with a ton of knowledge and you have prompts in here directing it to, maybe refer to an employee will get back to you if it doesn't know the answer. That's like my number one tip if you don't want it to break. If it doesn't know the answer to something, put in your prompt to say, hey, I actually don't know the answer to that. My name's Susie. I will have our manager, Carla, call you here in the next hour or two to get that question answered. Again, you don't have to put that in there, but just trying to get your brain turned a little bit so you have different options here. So go ahead and break that, and then your bot will be built out and ready to go. Now, attaching your bot is super easy, because once it's all built out, all you got to do is you have to come back over here to the left side. You're going to go ahead and find sites. And then once you're in sites, you're going to see this option for chat widgets right up here in the top right. And once you're in here, you can go ahead and select new. And then you will just have a couple options here. So again, for this example, we just did the live chat. For SMS and the social channels, those will automatically attach. I'll show that here in just a second, but I'm going to go ahead and just hit live chat. When I come into here, I can go ahead and just basically select the style of my chat. So what color do I want it? The chat window, what do I want it to look like? All that jazz. Hit save, then I'm good to go. Also, another quick note that's really cool, if they're not building your website through you and GoHighLevel, you can get code for this chatbot. So say they already have a website set up and they're just interested in AI services and nothing else, you can get the code for this website, copy this, and then send it to their website developer so they can embed it into their website. And then all that information will still feed back to GoHighLevel in regards to the conversation, so they can still manage them there, but you don't have to build them out a whole different website. So anyway, just know that is possible. So then once you're in here, you're going to come over to websites, and I'll just put a example website here. So this is just my So Simply website that I use for my business. And when you're here, you can just select right here under settings. And then when you scroll down, you will see there's different chat widget options. And then here's all the different chat widgets right here. So when I select a chat widget, so chat widget 1, say that's the only one that I've built out, that will now automatically connect my AI bot that I just built. So I can go ahead and hit save. And when I go back to the website, now you should be able to see that actually working there. So let me show you what this looks like real fast. So I'm just coming to another dummy website here and going to the homepage. So this is just a lawn care company example. What's neat about this is when you're demoing clients, you don't necessarily have to have everything built out for them. You can just get a template, preview it here. And now what I'm going to go ahead and do is down here, my bot will pop up. Then I can chat back and forth with it. You can see I've kind of tested it here and then break it in there as well. So that's how you can get it activated and good to go. All right, let's come back here and we're going to go back to AI agents again, and we're going to do the voice AI agent. Now the build out of this is very similar. So what you're going to see here is I'm just going to click create your first voice AI agent. And then when we come into here, again, I have this test one right here that I've created. Right now, once you're in here, you can go ahead and just give your AI agent a name, and then you can select the voice tone. So there's a ton of different voice tones. Go ahead, select them, play around with them, hit play. That's just the tone of voice that the bot will answer by. Then the business name, you'll type that in there. Now, there are different languages that you can select. So if you want to do something outside of English, you will have those options here. It's in beta mode right now, but I believe they're going to continue to add languages to this along the way. add your time zones, and then direction will always be inbound call, because this is going to be inbound calls being received to the business owner. And then you're going to type in what the initial message is. So when the bot answers, how are they going to answer? What's going to be the greeting? So I'm going to go ahead and just type that out here, and I'm going to hit next. Now, just like before with the chat AI bot, we're going to go ahead and give it its goals. So what do we want this bot to collect? Name, email, address, contacts, issue, so on and so forth. So depending on what type of bot we're building out, we're going to go ahead and put that in there. But you can also switch to advanced mode right here, and you're going to see this prompt again, where you're going to tell the bot, hey, this is what I want to gather as in regards to information, background info on the business, and again, so on and so forth. So they have a built template in here. So you'll have to go in and switch a few things around. But once you're done with that, you can go ahead and hit next one more time. Now, once you're here, you can go ahead and select the number that you want this to attach to. So if you haven't set up a phone number before in GoHighLevel, what you're going to go ahead and do is you're going to go to settings, and you're going to go to phone numbers here. And once you're in numbers, you can go ahead and add a number right here. And then essentially what you're going to do is go through the process of getting it A2P verified. I'm not going to go through all of that right now in this episode. I have another video on my channel that goes way in depth on how to make sure that you get your number A2P verified so you can receive calls and send text messages. So feel free to check that out. But now we're going to go ahead and jump back to the AI chatbot. I don't know why I called this the chatbot, because this is the voice agent. But what you're going to go ahead and do is you are going to test it, right? And you are going to call and test and break it, just like how you did before with the chatbot. And let me show you how cool this is. So I'm just going to put in my number here, and I'm just going to make a quick test call. So I'm just going to hit call me. And you'll see here in just a second, my phone will start to ring, and I'll just pick this up.
Hey, you have reached So Simply. How can I help you today?
And there we go. So now what I can do is I can go ahead and start asking it questions. I can go ahead and start trying to book an appointment, whatever I want the bot to do, right? And then test it, break it, like I said before, to make sure it works, so that when you go demo it to a client and then you're actually providing the service, you can give it the best results possible. All right. And then before we move on to the next section, I just want to tie off on one more thing that I just forgot to mention when it comes to the conversational AI bots. So in order to hook up your Instagram, your Facebook page, different things like that for the conversational AI bot, all you have to do is go to settings right here in the bottom left, and you'll just go ahead and come here to integrations, and then you can hook up your Google My Business, your Facebook, your Instagram pages. You can scroll down here and you'll be able to see everything there. And you can even connect your TikTok if you want to. So, and LinkedIn. So there's a lot of different options that you can integrate here, but just remember, you do need to integrate those, make sure they're connected before you go ahead and have that bot start working on some of the social channels. All right, so let's go into service number 2 that we're going to build out, which is what I call the ad launcher. Now, let me paint a little bit of a picture here, because we are going to integrate a software into this called UpHex. And I promise this is the last software that we're going to talk about. So UpHex and GoHighLevel, you'll be able to build all the services off of these two things. Now, I'll show you what it looks like, but I want to paint a bit of a picture here, because you might be thinking, oh, I don't want to pay for another software. Well, typically what people will do is they won't go with the highest plan of GoHighLevel unless they're planning to start a SaaS business right away, which I'll talk about that business model at the end. But say you start with the $297 plan, because that still gives you unlimited sub accounts to sign clients. And then UpHex, I think the starting plan is around $47 a month. So typically you are going to be anywhere around $350 to $500 a month, all in, for all the different softwares that you need to run this business. Now, if you do the math, all you really got to do, depending on how much you charge, is land 1 or 2 clients, and boom, you're breaking even. And then after that, everything is in the net positive. So again, that's my whole point of making this free course, is because I want you to take the money that you would have spent on a course and go spend it on some of the softwares that you'll need in order to get this going. So anyway, just wanted to quickly lay that groundwork, paint that picture there. And then now let's jump into the ad launcher. So the ad launcher is a way for business owners to be able to launch Facebook and Google ads in 2 to 3 clicks. So let me show you how easy this is. So I can go ahead and hit launch new campaign. I can now select either Google or Facebook or Instagram. I'm just going to click Facebook and Instagram for this example. And then I can load templates into here. Now, UpHex has thousands of templates in all different types of niches. And these are proven out templates that are proven to get a good ROI and good amount of leads. So I'm going to click here, and I have these dental copies that are loaded in here as an example. And now I can scroll down here, and you'll see all these different templates of Facebook and Instagram ads. And all the business owner has to do is they can change around the description. They can replace it with their own image if they want to use their own image, which I would always suggest my clients to do that. Or they can keep these. These image works great as well. And then they can launch the campaign. So let me go ahead and select one of these here. All right, now once I'm to this page, all I have to do is fill in a few fields here and I'm good to go. So I put in the price, I select the campaign type, right? So lead form, do I want people to call my business? Do I want it to direct them to a landing page, messenger, whatever it might be? Put in my website, put in my address. If this is hooked up to your Facebook, this should hopefully auto-populate there. And then down here, you can go to additional options. If you don't see these down here, you can just hit optional info and then select campaign name, select what lead form you want to attach to this, load a custom audience, add media, add text, everything in between. So essentially what it is, it's like a simplified version of them going into the Facebook Business Manager or the Google Manager, right? And once they're able to fill all this out, they can just go ahead and hit launch campaign and boom, now they have a Facebook ad going on Instagram and Facebook. Now, again, let me tell a brief story to, again, hopefully paint a picture of how you can pitch this to business owners. So when I first started my agency, I did a very traditional SMMA model. Again, this was back at the 2023 time where SMMA was, I feel like, a lot bigger at the time. I feel like things have been transitioning to more of a SaaS model, more automation, more AI. But at the time, I would go to business owners and I would run their Facebook and Google ads, and I would go into the ad manager on the back end, do everything for them, call them, warm transfer them to their front desk. I've told that story in a few other videos, but I would charge anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 a month for this type of service. And I was able to land clients because that's typically the range that most people would charge. And it was good, but sometimes I felt a little sick about it. I won't lie, just because at the end of the day, running Facebook ads and Google ads, it wasn't all that hard. Like, is it scientific, and are there things about it that you need to be good at with your, your ad image and your copy? Yeah, absolutely. Like, those are things that you need to learn. But at the end of the day, when it comes to targeting people, Facebook is smart enough with their algorithm on the back end to know who to put this ad in front of, right? It has to learn for a little bit, but it knows who to put the ad in front of. And so kind of when I started to learn that a little bit more, and as I started getting better at the ad copies and the text, I was like, targeting people, it seems like if I just keep it kind of broad, do it within a 10-mile radius of the business, if it's like a local service business, it typically produces good leads as long as I cover those two things with the ad copy and the image. And obviously a good offer as well is very, very important, which we can talk about in another video. But what's awesome about this is when I go to a business owner now, I can say, hey, are you sick of paying $1,500 a month for someone to run your Facebook ads? Yeah, it's so expensive. I hate it. What if I gave you a way that you can launch your own Facebook and Google ads in 2 or 3 clicks? We'll actually load in all the templates for you with ad copy and different images that have a proven ROI around them. We'll coach you on, adding in your own images and things like that, but we'll only charge you, $250 a month for this. Would that be better for you? Absolutely. Right. And maybe there's business owners who don't want to do that. Maybe they want to be more hands off and just have you do everything. They don't want to see anything. They don't want to touch anything, and just have warm transfers right to their front desk, right? That's the business model that I ran, but this is becoming a lot more popular. And hopefully that gives you a good idea of, the ad launcher and how it can be valuable to different business owners. And real quick, just to show you the Google side as well, it's the same thing, right? I can come into here, select Google. I'm going to have all these different templates that I can put in here, but now you'll see it is in the form of a Google ad. So again, same principle. They can go in here, select, change a few things around, and then boom, launch their campaign. And now they have ads going on the Google and Facebook and Instagram side. All right. And just to tie off this service that you can build out, I will put a link in the description for UpHex so you can go check it out. And then in order to integrate it, so it's a custom field on your GoHighLevel account. So you can see here, I have the ad launcher. That's typically not there. What I'm going to go ahead and do is you can go to your agency view. So you can click up here, go to your agency view, and then go to settings down here. And then once I'm in settings on the agency level, I can come here on the left side, find custom menu links, and then just put in the link for UpHex. Very simple process. So we'll show you how to do it on the website. But once I have that in there, you can pick your icon, and then you have the fancy looking new icon that makes your software a little bit more unique, right? And that's what's cool about GoHighLevel is you can actually make multiple custom menu links to make it unique to your own white label version. All right, now let's talk about building out service number 3, which is a oldie but a goodie. It's a classic, and that's reputation management. So again, let's start with painting the picture here. This is where you're helping businesses boost their organic ratings on places like Facebook, Google, and even Yelp. And business owners hate the word Yelp, so beware when you say that word to them. They hate it, but this is how you can sound like an expert to them, because whether they like it or not, the majority of the United States has iPhones. And so, especially if you're servicing businesses in the United States, if you go on your Apple Maps and you search for lawn care businesses, a barber shop, a nail salon, what is attached to that is the Yelp reviews. And so it is important to be able to not only have your Google listing have a good system in place to consistently get reviews, but it's also important to focus on some of the other websites as well, like Yelp, and also obviously things like Facebook, because people do find businesses through Facebook a lot. Now, when it comes to reviews, you want to focus on three things in order to help boost the organic ranking of a business owner. And that is number of reviews, how frequent the reviews come in, and then also the overall star rating, which hopefully that's pretty obvious. But then there's also a few bonus things on there as well that can help boost your organic ranking. For instance, like a business owner responding to all the Google reviews, and that will help them boost their rating that much more amongst their competitors. So the way that you're going to bring value to business owners is you're going to say something along the lines of, hey, I noticed that you are ranking number 5 amongst your competitors when people are searching for lawn care services on Google. I would love to establish a system that organically helps boost your online rating at very minimal cost to you in order to get more clients in your door. And you'd be surprised how many business owners don't have systems in place already in order to make this happen. All right, so in order to build this out, you're going to come to the left side here and you're going to scroll down and find the reputation tab. Once you're in here, it's pretty self-explanatory. This will just give an overall star rating amongst, all their different platforms that they have, whatever they have connected, right? I showed you that integrations tab, Google, Facebook, different things like that. And it's just a great place to have a dashboard to see, hey, what are my trends right now? How many star ratings do I have amongst 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 stars? And then how many reviews am I getting on average, over the last month, 6 months, whatever it might be. Now, a business owner can come in here and they can just simply send a review request, which is great, right? It gives an easy way for the customer to leave a review. They can select the contact name and then they can send it either email or SMS or WhatsApp. But again, they're not going to have the time to do that for every single person that comes in. So this is where you can kind of start combining different business models or services in order to streamline this process for them. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to actually set up some automations in order to make sure that every single time that a customer comes in, a review request is going to go out. And not only that, but there's different campaigns that you can build out. For instance, you can do a campaign where maybe you send out review requests to current customers and you offer them an incentive, right? And you can't, according to Google's rules, go, hey, leave us a 5-star review and we'll give you a $25 gift card. Like, you can't do things like that, but you can just ask for their honest feedback, right? And maybe for sharing their feedback, you give them a little discount code or something like that. So a great way to use your current customer base just to get a big boost of star ratings right off the bat. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to settings here. And once I'm in settings, I'm just going to make sure that I have all of these different things set up right here. So you can come into here and actually set up a review AI agent. You can customize your review links. And then right here, you can customize your SMS, your email requests, and different things like that. So let me just show you what this looks like real fast. So when I come into here, I'm going to flip this switch on here in the top right. You can put an image in here, and then I'm just going to put some text right here so you can see. So I just went ahead and typed out a simple message. Hey, first name, thanks for coming in today. We would love to hear your feedback on your experience. Obviously, you can put whatever you want here. In order to make sure that you have their first name actually pop up every time, you'll see this little plus symbol in the bottom right here. You can go ahead and add custom fields. And if you don't know what a custom field or a variable is, it's basically a way for it to be personalized. And so what I mean by that is you can come into here and you can say first name, last name, full name. So you'll see this weird brackets right here where it says hello, bracket, contact, first name. That is a variable. So when it actually pops up, it's going to say hello, Nate. It just makes it that much more personalized. So anyway, you probably already know that, but in case you don't know where to find that or what that is, that's what it does. Okay, now scrolling down here, when do we want to send the SMS? You can do it immediately, 1 hour after, 2 hours after, 4 hours after. You can do whatever you want. But typically, I think it's better to do it as quickly as you can, just because it's top of mind. They just have that good experience. So get them to do it right there and then. And then down here, you can choose to repeat the message, which I would always suggest doing because, people, they're not going to always leave it on the first time. It's impossible. That's just how people are. They get distracted. They go about their day and they're not going to leave it. So So I think it's always good to send another reminder, maybe 3 days after, 1 week after. Again, you can set that as you please. But once you have that all there, you can go ahead and hit save, and then boom, that's set up on the back end. Now, very similar on the email side as well, but you can actually make these templates look really nice. And so you'll see here, I can go ahead and create new, and it's actually going to give me the opportunity to create an email template. And so this will pop up right here. You'll see this nice professional looking page. And if you've ever used a website builder before, and we're going to go deeper into websites and landing pages later in this video, but you can actually just drag and drop what you want. So say I want text, right? I can just drag this into here, type the text that I want, so on and so forth. And you can play around with that, go ahead and hit save, and then you're good to go. And now that that template's saved, I can go ahead and make sure that it looks good. And then very similar to the SMS, up here at the top, you can say, hey, when do I want to send this? Immediately after the service was done, 1 hour after, 2 hours, and then do I want to repeat this? So on and so forth. So that's it. Once that's all set up and you are good to go, now you have SMSs going out, you have emails going out, you can even connect WhatsApp if you want. And then this is really cool. I always like to mention this as well. If you've ever walked into a shop before and there are QR codes, right? Maybe it's on the counter, maybe it's on their window. You can actually give these QR codes to business owners to put in their shop. And so just as like a nice little bonus, hey, have you ever walked into a business before and seen that QR code on the window that people can just leave a Google review right away? Oh yeah, I've seen that before. Oh, do you have one of those? Oh no, I don't. Okay, let's make sure that we get you set up with one so that you also have not only people online or sending text messages to leave reviews, but people that are actually walking into your your shop, your dental office, whatever it might be, right there and then. And then finally, one last thing I will note here under the settings is the integrations. Now, I'll just I want to keep putting ideas in your head because my whole goal is while these episodes are going, your brain's just turning of the type of services that you want to build out. You can integrate other platforms. So for instance, Airbnb, this might be a really fascinating niche to go into because I haven't heard of this a lot. So this is a free nugget for you right here. There are so many Airbnb hosts out there. Are they good at getting reviews from all their guests? Maybe they don't have systems set up in the back end in order to make sure that they are getting consistent reviews every single time someone's staying at their Airbnb. And that is so important to them because if they don't do that, it's not going to be rented out as much. And what's going to happen? They are not going to be able to get a return on the investment that they made in that rental property or that Airbnb property. So what's really cool about this is you can integrate so many different platforms as well into the GoHighLevel platform to service any type of niche, right? Obviously, Google is probably the most common when it comes to reviews, but there's a lot more to that as well. And hopefully that gives you a good idea of different services that you can offer in a unique niche that's maybe not super saturated yet. All right. And one more thing that I want to tie off on here when it comes to the service of reputation management is you can build out automations on the back end to connect these to calendars. And so why is this important? Is again, you are trying to create an environment where the business owner doesn't even have to think about sending out reviews. And so as you're building out these automations, you can make it so that after a appointment is done, so say they went for a free consultation, they sign up for the business, you build all the automations for reminder text, they do that service, and boom, once that service is done, right, they send out a review request. So let me show you what that looks like, and then that will tie into some of the automation business services that we're going to be talking to about as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and come to the calendars tab real quick so you can see what this looks like, and I'm going to go ahead and hit calendar settings here, and I'm just going to create a new calendar so you can see what this looks like. And now there's different types of calendar links that you can set up. So you can do personal bookings, round robins, collective booking, class booking. There's a few other types as well, but they're pretty self-explanatory. You can read each one of these to see what type of calendar is best for the service that you're setting up. But I'm going to go ahead and just select one of these. And what you'll see here is you can give it a name. And again, it's pretty self-explanatory. Do your available times and all that jazz. And then what's nice about this is then you have your calendar link, and then you can go send this over to prospects, to clients, and they are able to then take that, book times, and then that will all integrate together so no one ever overlaps. So let me exit out of this and talk about why this is important real quick. Because now once I have a calendar set up, I can go ahead and go back here, and I'm going to go to automations. And I'm just going to go ahead and create a new automation. Now you'll see here, I have a lot of different automations that are already built out in here. So I'm just going to create a new workflow so you can see what this looks like. And I'll go ahead and start from scratch. And now again, remember, we're kind of tying in the reputation management, but also talking about the automation business model here as well. So I'm just going to do a test automation, and I'm going to build a quick automation to do a review request after an appointment is booked. So I'm going to go ahead and do payment received, because I'm going to assume that once the payment's received, that means it's probably a completed appointment. We've done our services for them. And then I'm just going to go to payment status here, and I'm going to do is, and I'm going to do success. And I'm going to save that trigger here. And then maybe after that payment's received, I want to put in a wait step, and I'll just go wait, and I'll just say 1 day, just as an example here. Again, you can do it quicker than that. And then I'm going to do a review request, send review request, select type. And now I can select SMS or email or WhatsApp. Now, if you remember those templates that we built out, right? So that email template we built out, we also put our SMS message under the settings and reputation management. That's what's going to get sent out when I put in the type here. So I'm going to go SMS. And then after that, I'm going to be able to select my review link and save action. Now, this is the most basic automation, but what's happening on the back end, right? What's happening is once the payment's received, the business owner doesn't have to think about sending out this review request, right? Payments received, the status is updated to successful. It waits 1 day, it sends out a review request. Boom, I'm done. I can go ahead, save, publish, and I'm good to go. Now, you might be wondering, hey, Nate, why did you just talk about calendars and then show us a payment received? Honestly, my head just kind of got lost a little bit, but let me show you another example of automation. So I'm going to go ahead and just exit out of this one real quick. I'm just going to delete this. I won't save it. And let's go ahead and create another one. And we'll start from scratch again. All right, so now for the calendar example, so a few things here, right? You could either send a appointment reminder, for example, maybe after an appointment's completed. Again, you could also use that trigger, I guess, for a review request. I like to use the payment received because that means like the service is actually complete. I feel like that's easier to track. But say they're not using your GoHighLevel services to collect payments. This is another alternative that you could use. So I'm just going to go appointment status, and I'm going to add a filter here. And I'm going to do the drop down, and I'm just going to do in calendar. And then what I can do is I can select one of those calendars that I created. So I'm just going to do this test calendar here and then save trigger. So now I have a trigger for this automation for when a calendar event happens. So again, just as a reminder, it's in this calendar test calendar, but you might be like, hey, at what point in the calendar does this trigger? Well, hey, let me go ahead and do an appointment status. So I'm going to do appointment status is, and you have a few different options here: new, confirmed, canceled, showed, no showed, so on and so forth. So for instance, let me go ahead and do a new appointment status. So a new appointment has been scheduled on the calendar. I'm going to go ahead and save that trigger, and I'm going to go ahead and do a wait step. And now, instead of doing a time delay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a drop down here and base it off of an event or appointment time. So I'm going to do event appointment time, and then I'm going to do before, and I'm just going to do 1 day. So now my wait step's there. And now I'm going to put in another SMS, and I'm just going to say hello. I'm going to put in a variable. So this is the custom values that I talked about before: contact, first name. We are excited for your appointment tomorrow at, and then when it's tied to a calendar, you can also just put in a variable for the time as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. So I'm just going to search it right here. So I'm going to do time, and then I'll just do appointment start date time. We will call you when we are on our way. Right. You've probably gotten one of these text messages before, but it's kind of cool to see how it's built out on the back end. So I'm going to go ahead and save that action. And then boom, once again, we have a simple but very effective automation built out where it's going to trigger off of a new appointment status. It's going to wait until the day before, and then it's going to send an SMS. Now let's switch this around a little bit so you can see how simple this is. I'm going to go back to my trigger, and I'm going to do appointment statuses showed. So say I'm a dentist, an orthodontist, someone comes in for an appointment, I mark them as showed, they showed up for that appointment. I can do the same exact thing. I can go ahead and wait, but instead of doing before, I can do after. Maybe I will do 2 hours after, and I'm going to switch this. I'm going to delete this, and instead of doing an SMS, I'm going to do a review request again. So send review request, select type, SMS, you can do email, save that action, and then boom, we just built out another review request automation on the back end, but this time we did it instead of a payment, we did it based off of an appointment being completed. So hopefully that starts to paint a picture for you of how to build out automations. I have a whole nother video that goes really deep into automations, but that's how you can build out the service, right? So now I've built out 2 simple automations that get review requests and appointment reminders, and I can go sell that to business owners to say, hey, again, here's me painting the picture. Hey, do you have a good show rate when it comes to people showing up for their consultations? Yeah, we have about a 60% show rate. Sometimes it's lower because it's a free consultation. We see people, no show because, they're not putting any money down. So maybe they don't care about it as much. Hey, if I build out this system for you to increase your show rate by 20% and get that from 60 to 80%, like, would that be worth your time? Yeah, absolutely. And then boom, maybe this is something you charge a little cheaper for, because once you build it out once and you have a snapshot for it, you can literally go and copy it, right? And I even give my snapshots of the different automations that I built out in my template when you sign up for that link for the free trial. So you'll have a lot of these already, so you can get a head start. But again, you saw how easy it was to go into here, create a trigger, and then put in some steps in there. And then once you build it once, you can copy that over, make a few changes based off of the business, and you're good to go. Now, as we finish out this next business model around automations, let me show you a few other automations that are really appealing to business owners that you can build out pretty easily. And you can use all these automations that I've showed, or just keep it really simple and just focus on a few of these. So let's talk about missed call text back. Now, you can go into settings and have just a very basic feature in GoHighLevel where any call that comes in, it automatically sends a text that says, hey, sorry, missed your call. How can we help you? But I like to build a workflow around it, because I like to have follow-up texts off of that just one text that I sent out. So let me show you what I mean by this. So I'm going to go ahead and do a new trigger, and I'm going to do call status for this one. And I'm going to add filters here. And I'm going to go ahead and do call direction. I'm going to go ahead and do incoming, add another filter, and then I'm going to do call status. And I'm going to select all of these different ones that basically indicate that we missed the call. So busy, canceled, no answer, or went to voicemail. And I'm going to save that trigger. And what's going to happen is now I'm going to put in an SMS, and I'll make this message really simple here. And I went ahead and just typed this out real quick. So, hey, Nate, sorry we missed your call. We were busy on the other line, but wanted to send you a quick text message so we can start discussing your needs and see how we can help. So boom, now they get a text message right away. I'm going to go ahead and save that action. But this is the power of the workflow, because you could do that just in the general settings of GoHighLevel for any missed call that you get. But I like to add additional steps to this. So I'll go ahead and wait, and I will do a time delay of maybe, an hour or two. So let's just do like 2 hours, and then do another SMS and just say, hey, I'm not going to make this perfect, but we haven't heard back. How can we help? Save action. And then right here, actually before this wait step, I'm going to put in another action here, and I'm going to assign to a user. And I can either select specific users, or I can just assign it to everyone within my organization, and just hit save action. Just going to make me assign one real quick. And then once I have that, I'm going to send an internal notification via SMS. And I'm going to select user type, and I'm going to send it to the assigned user, or I can send it to everybody. And I'm just going to say, hey, we just missed a call. Get back to this person ASAP. Save action. All right. Again, very simple automation, but what did I build out here? So now we have a trigger of a call status for an inbound call. We missed the call. An SMS goes out to say, hey, how can we help you right away? Right after that, it's going to assign it to a user pretty much at the same exact time that the SMS goes out. And at the same time, an internal notification is going to be sent to that user to say, hey, we just missed a call. Get back to this person ASAP. It's going to put another wait step in there just to give us time to get back to them, things like that. But if we don't, for whatever reason, now we have another SMS going out to follow up with them if they don't reply. And you can go into the settings of any of your automations, and you can select different things here. For instance, like, hey, stop on response. So if they respond to the text message and you don't want that second step to go out, you can absolutely do that. Or if there's only certain times that you want text messages going out, you can make sure that you set your time zones accordingly, and you can also do it in specific time windows. So say you don't want text messages going out after 9 p.m., whatever it might be, you can set that accordingly and you're good to go. Because maybe you don't work on Sundays, right? And the business owner doesn't want to send internal notifications because all their employees are off, right? So you can make sure that those don't trigger on Sunday and you're good to go. All right, another automation that's really important to people is following up on lead forms. So this is where you can combine, some services here. We just talked about the ad launcher not too long ago, and maybe we want to build some automations for when people fill out those forms on Facebook and Instagram to make sure we have proper follow-up with them right away. So I'm going to go ahead and start from scratch one more time. And I'm going to add a trigger in here, and I'm just going to do a lead form. And you can see here, we have different types of lead forms that we can do. So if you just typed in like form, for instance, you can just do form submitted right on the website. You can do Facebook forms, you can do TikTok forms, LinkedIn forms. And it's really nice because, again, when you're pitching this to a business owner, hey, never miss a lead. No matter what lead comes in, whatever form they fill out, we'll make sure that we reach out to them right away and put systems on the back end so they immediately get a text, an email, assign it to users within your business so we can get a really good speed to lead of everyone being contacted within seconds via SMS and then within minutes from your team via phone. So let me just go ahead and just do a Facebook lead form submitted. And then what you can do here is you can select the page that it's attached to. So I'm just going to use one of my old pages that I don't use anymore. And I'm going to add filters and I'm going to select a form. So form is, and I'm just going to do this one and save action and boom. Now, every single time someone fills out that form, it's going to trigger this workflow. And once again, I can do things like an SMS, assign it to a user. I won't go through all of it because I think you understand the point here, but I want to show you the different triggers and again, get your brain turning of how you can build this out. And then publish, save it, go to the settings, name it, we're good to go. And then the last thing that I'll say about automations as well is what's really cool about GoHighLevel is it has an app that's tied to it called Lead Connector. And this is really appealing to service-based businesses, but you can actually connect Stripe or QuickBooks to your GoHighLevel account and send payments right then and there via the app. So when you're thinking about automation and streamlining your processes, that's another thing that's really appealing depending on what niche you're in, because they're probably paying for a payment provider already or some type of app. So they can actually cancel that service, save some money, send their payments to the Lead Connector app, and then you can build automations on the back end like I just showed to send out review requests, so on and so forth. So just another quick thing to note there. All right, let's go ahead and jump into another oldie but a goodie, and that is building websites. And I've talked about this in some of my other videos before, but if you're just getting started and you have no experience, I think this is one of the best ones to start with because it's so simple. And when we go into our other video about reaching out to clients and landing your first clients, we'll talk through this a little bit more in depth, but you'd be surprised how many businesses are out there still that don't have websites. And so you can come to them and pitch it really easily and say, hey, I built out a website for you. Do you care if I show it to you? And talk about the importance of different things around having it capture more folks and being searchable online and everything like that. So if you come to sites here, you can actually build out websites pretty easily. So if I just come up here, hit new website, you can either start from blank or you can have thousands of different templates that GoHighLevel already has in here. So I can go into here, select all these different types of templates. You'll see here I have different categories that I can select from. So let me just do home services, for instance. And I have lawn care templates, landscaping, cleaning companies, so on and so forth. So we'll go ahead and use this lawn care template that I have in here just as an example. So I can pop into here and now, boom, I already have my home page, contact us page, calendar page, thank you page, all this set up. And I can click into any of these and just hit edit. And once this loads up, this is a very basic website builder. So if you've used a website builder before, it's pretty simple. I can go up here in the top left. I can hit add elements. I can drag and drop accordingly if I do want to change anything around, or if I'm barely starting out, I can keep it pretty simple and just switch out the logo, make sure that my buttons work, right? So make sure that this actually leads to the contact us page. So the way that I can do this is I can come here, select any of these, scroll down, and you'll see here that it has button actions. So I can either go to a specific page, a different URL. But what's nice about this is on these templates, typically they already have another page built that it will attach to. So a lot of the times the buttons will already work. But again, if you want to switch anything around, you can do that accordingly and you're good to go, right? So you can build this out, go ahead, save it, publish it, connect a domain, and you're ready to rock and roll. Now, if you need to learn how to connect a domain on GoHighLevel, again, I have a whole nother video on that, kind of similar to the phone number thing. We're not going to go super in depth into that right now, but you can go ahead, connect that domain, and you should be good to go to have that website live on there. Now, for the sake of time, I am going to reference you over to another video on my channel, which is called Building Out Websites That Actually Land Clients. Go take a look at that. I will dive a lot deeper into some of these different features and functionalities of the website builder. But I think when it comes to building out the service itself, and just for the purpose of this free course and everything here, essentially what you're doing is you're going to business owners, finding ones who don't have websites, quickly putting a template together for them that you can demonstrate to them, and then saying, hey, like I'll give this to you for, $99 a month or whatever to maintain it. You can build out some automations on the back end, and boom, there you go. Now you get 10 of those business owners and you're running their websites for them. You're making $1,000 a month with very minimal work on the back end. And you can even charge more than $99 a month, right? That's just an example. But maybe as you're landing some of your first clients, charge cheaper because you're not an expert yet. You're going to get better at building these websites out. And then from there, you can move your prices up accordingly. All right, let's move on to the next service, which is the social planner. Social media is huge. And another great thing that's built out in GoHighLevel is a way for business owners to be able to manage their social media in a very simple way. And you can train them on this. And then essentially what they can do is they can go and take that and be able to use your software, right? Your white labeled version of the software to schedule posts, schedule multiple platforms on the same time. And I'll show you exactly how you can do this here. All right, so let's jump over to the marketing tab so you can actually see what this looks like. So when I jump into the social planner here, there's kind of two things that I want to cover here. And that is ease of posting on multiple platforms at one time, and then also having an easy way to build out your calendar to schedule your posts. Because the way that you can pitch this to business owners, and again, now we're back to painting a picture again, is, hey, it's hard to keep up with social media. If you had a way to be able to batch post at one time, schedule them all out so you can schedule it and forget about it, would that be helpful? And then maybe you don't just provide the software for them. Maybe you help them with their postings as well, and they can come in here and see what's going on. So again, you can, build this how you want. But when you come into here, you can see here that I can create a new post, but then I can also go into this calendar view here and see all my upcoming posts for the month. And I can click on any of these days and see what is going to be posted. And then if I want to make sure that I have something created for that day, I can create a new post here. Let me just show you what this looks like. And what's awesome about this is I can do the drop down here and I can select multiple accounts. So again, these are just kind of like fake dummy accounts that I've used in the past. And I can select all of them. I can select one at a time. I need to reconnect them in order to actually select them. But now after I've selected them, I can go ahead, write out my post here. And then after that, I can drag and drop an image and boom, I have a post. I can post it to Instagram, to Facebook, to TikTok all at once. If it's a video, right? Of course. And I'm good to go. So that's what's the beauty of the social planner. Another thing around this as well is the ability to build out email campaigns. And this is really important for business owners because if they don't have email campaigns going on, they're probably missing out. You're probably a part of some big company's email campaign. Maybe it's like one that I can think of, and this, I'm not affiliated or sponsored with them, but is Built. I love Built shirts. And every single time I pop up my email, there's some type of discount code, there's some type of sale going on, and I will fall for them sometimes to be able to go in there and, buy a new shirt, buy pants, whatever it might be. So you can actually create those similar email campaigns right here in GoHighLevel. And they make it really easy because I can just go here, select create new campaign. And again, very similar to the website builder, I can either have templates. So you'll see here, there's all these different templates that are already built out. I can search for the most popular, different categories, or I can start from scratch. So instead of just having text in the email, I can make this look very professional, and I can build out a whole schedule here in order to have a month, a 2-month, a 3-month campaign go on. I can create multiple marketing campaigns, maybe one for new customers. Maybe I build one for sales that are upcoming. Maybe for Q4, I can do a Black Friday, a Christmas sell, different things like that. And so again, just a great way
to be able to help a business owner streamline their communication with their customers via their social channels, via their email marketing, so on and so forth. So another great business service that you can build out on here as well. One thing I do want to quickly note is you might notice there is something called the ad managers up here in the marketing as well. Now, I talked about the ad launcher business model where you can connect UpHex. GoHighLevel is starting to basically try to do the same thing. You'll notice that with GoHighLevel, that's like a trend of them. Anytime there's like an outside software that you can integrate, they try to copy it and just build it like right into the platform itself. So if that's something that you want to try, you can build it out. I don't think it's fully there yet, personally, like in GoHighLevel. So I still like to connect UpHex. Again, it's very, very cheap. It's not that much more money on a monthly basis, but just know it is possible. It's getting better, and potentially something you can just use right within the platform itself as well. All right, hang in there because we are almost done. I promise you. I want to talk about done for you services because I think this is something worth mentioning when you're talking about different types of business models and services that you can build. Done for you services are the type of business owners that do not want to ever see the GoHighLevel platform, but you are using the GoHighLevel platform yourself on the back end. And I want to tell my story because this is actually how I started when I first started selling my services. And I want to talk about how you can build this out and just give you a few examples. So again, your brain can get turning. So we ran Facebook and Google ads for business owners. And so what we did is we used the automations in order to basically internally make sure that our speed to lead was good and we could transfer them right over to the business owner's front desk. So I'll show you what I mean by this. So we would go in, set up the Facebook, the Google ads, and then we would create workflows on the back end. And I won't dive super deep into this, but kind of similar to what I showed you before, we would do a lead form and we would connect it. We would select the page, make sure that we had all the right lead forms connected for the ads that we were running. And then we would immediately assign that to a user. And so we would select the users that we had. I would go on to Upwork and Fiverr and find different contractors that would be willing to call these leads during the day for me as I focused on scaling the business. So I went ahead and selected these people. I would save action. And then, like I showed you before, I would send an SMS internal notification so they knew that something came in right away. And then they could come into here and immediately start reaching out to this client. But I'll show you a few more steps that I put into here. So I'll just say, hi, new lead. Obviously, make these messages better. But this is just as an example. And then we would wait for 2 minutes. And then we would do a manual action to call. So we could track these and then they would call them. And then I forgot about one other step as well. We would send an SMS right away. And this would be to the client. And we would just be like, hi, name, obviously put a variable in there. Thanks for filling out our form. One of our representatives will reach out shortly to schedule your appointment. Right. So now the prospect knows, hey, something's going to be coming. I should expect a call. And then we can go from there. So again, you can make this automation way more complicated. But what's nice about this is maybe you're not having the client themselves go into GoHighLevel, but it's still good to have this because you're building out your own internal systems on the back end to make sure that your business is running properly. You can manage all the conversations, the clients, assign workflows, your users, all that jazz. So again, publish, save, we're good to go there. And you can build out other automations, again, in that other video that I have where, you can go in and say it's like the weekend and a form comes in and you don't have someone working, where you can send a message that says, hey, we're closed today, but thanks for filling out your form. We're going to have someone call you first thing Monday morning. So all those things are possible. But I think this is worth mentioning again, just because if you have a business owner or a service that you're going to build out where you're just like, hey, the appeal to this is you are going to be completely hands off. You will never have to deal with anything with your marketing, with your automations. We're going to handle everything for you. I want to just kind of turn your brain a little bit of how you can build that out for yourself on the back end. All right. And to finish us off in this episode, the last business service that I will mention is the SaaS business model. So it's selling GoHighLevel as a software that the business owner can come in here and do everything that we talked about today, get access to every single functionality, feature, just everything. And so this is the model that I'm currently on right now, just because it's not as hands-on. And I like that because as long as you can just onboard your clients really well, then essentially what you do is you get them set up on the system, they learn how to use it, they get it implemented, and all their team members and their staff members on board. And you're not constantly, taking calls with clients and trying to figure out how their ads are performing, different things like that. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like, absolutely, if you want to do those business model services, like, go do it. I don't know what I'm saying there, business model services, but the SaaS model is really appealing because it builds your system out in such a way that, if you set it up really well on the front end, maybe the maintaining of clients isn't as heavy on the back end. So with that being said, the SaaS business model, the one downside to it, especially if you're just getting started, you can only sell SaaS on the most expensive GoHighLevel package. So it's the $497 a month, which again isn't super bad because if you can just land 2 or 3 clients, boom, you're automatically in the green. But I will show you why it's so powerful. So let me just pull up my website. And when I go to like my pricing page here, and I'll just do like this one, for instance, and type in my company name and I check out and everything, what's going to happen is I'm going to immediately get an email to access the software. And so I don't have to wait for, myself to set it up. They're going to be able to immediately get in here and just get access to the software. So it's like it's your own software, right? And then what I've gone ahead and did is I actually built out a whole custom training center. And again, this is something that you'll get access to if you sign up with that link for the free trial. I give this to all my different affiliates that sign up. But when you come into here, kind of my philosophy around this is I wanted to build something out where I didn't have to hop on as many onboarding calls and also sales calls. I'm trying to figure out a way to mitigate those as much as possible. So again, I can just continue to focus on selling the ads and all that jazz. So what I built out here is a way to book an onboarding call with me if they need to, but I have an intro video that walks them through the whole training center. And then I have all of these different links that teach them how to set up and attach a phone number, set up their email, connect a domain. I have a whole onboarding course that walks them through every single feature of the platform, how to set up their AI chatbot, how to set up ad launcher, how to set up a website and go through automations, different things like that. So anyway, with that being said, this is another great business model that you can build out because everything that we went through today, maybe a business owner just wants to get in and do it all themselves. And, think of all the different softwares that are out there, the big wigs, Salesforce, HubSpot, all these different companies that's what they are. They're a SaaS. And that's what's kind of cool about GoHighLevel is it's very low barrier of entry where you can go in, white label it, make your own, put in your own custom menu links and sell business owners basically on the dream and the vision of having a software that can do everything for them so they can eliminate everything. And that's how I sell it. Again, I'm not hiding anything. I'm giving all of my secrets away in this in these different episodes in this course. You'll see here on my website, if I go back to my homepage here, if I just scroll down, basically talk about, hey, take all your tools, cancel them and save thousands of dollars because you'll be able to do it all in So Simply or GoHighLevel, which is what it's powered by. So another great way to market your business and sell the SaaS model. And that is the last service that we will be talking about here today. And I want to give one last note. If you are going to pick the SaaS model where they're just using it as an overall software, if you are picking a SaaS business model, my number one tip is sell one feature and then get them to stay a long-term client by teaching them how to use the other features. So what I mean by this is maybe your ad that you run or the outreach that you're doing is all around the AI chatbot and how to set that up. Or maybe it's around the ad launcher feature, or maybe it's around building out a website and the automations. Whatever it is, like sell them on one thing, because if you give them every piece of the puzzle, they're just going to get confused. They're going to be like, I don't really know how to use this. I don't know where to start. It just seems a little overwhelming. So sell them on the AI chatbot, get them in, build them this training center where they can go and start learning more about the power behind the software. And that's how they're going to stay a long-term client. So just a quick tip, if you do pick this last business model or this business service, selling it as a SaaS, you got to be aware of that, because if you just go, hey, this can do everything, you might not get the results that you think you might get when you first start trying to get clients.
All right, and that's it for episode 2. I hope you found this helpful and you're ready to go take the services that you built out to go demo to prospects. In episode 3, we're going to be talking about how to actually land your first client and to set up your outreach methods so that you can scale them to get consistent meetings week over week. Again, I'll put a link down below to get a free trial of the GoHighLevel platform so you can jump into it and start building out these services. And finally, as always, feel free to like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you found this video helpful, and we'll see you in episode 3.